A man can make habits for himself, right? But at the end of the day, the habits make the man. What I see very commonly amongst men in their 30s, 40s, 50 years old is that they're setting good goals and good habits for themselves every single day, right? Training consistently every single week, trying to eat high quality whole foods, and even little daily habits and inputs like stopping caffeine early in the morning, right? Not drinking caffeine later on in the day, or trying to, get in a walk maybe for a couple minutes after meals, some smaller daily habits like that. But overall, trying to set good habits for themselves to be consistent with. So we all set habits for ourselves, right? And that's because our brain likes the organization, it likes the overall predictability, and it likes to know what's coming next with those repeatable actions again that we do every single day. But if you don't set the right repeatable actions, the right habits to do every single day, like I said, the habits make the man. So poor or suboptimal habits that can put yourself in worse of a situation than you wanted it to, because again, it dug yourself into a bit of a deeper hole. You set habits for yourself to be consistent with, they weren't really the best habits, and so the output is not exactly what you wanted. And so with all of that being said, that's exactly what I'm talking about today, right? Habits, setting the proper habits and installing the 3 specific habits that I implement in every single client's program that I work with, right? The habits that move your HRV, your VO2 max, and your metabolic age entirely, right? Instead of the habits that just make you feel productive, but in the end, not producing the results that you are looking for. My name is Ben Kump. I coach CEOs, executives, and high performing men who are done accepting the health is supposed to decline after 40 stigma. I've had a client that is 73 years old reverse his metabolic age down to 42 years old. And I've also had another client drop 46 pounds while being a senior engineer for a very well-known mortgage company, right? While going through some of the most stressful times of his career. And I'll tell you this right now, neither of them technically worked harder than they were before working with me. They just simply started working with a different system and putting their discipline into the right habits. So let's talk about what those 3 main ones were. So if your cardio right now is whatever is gonna get my heart rate up for 30 minutes, right? If that's your cardio right now, you're just training like that 25-year-old that has no cortisol debt, no back-to-back board business meetings, or no red-eye flights if you travel often, right? My point is you're following a system that's just based on feeling rather than a system that is actually built for you around your specific lifestyle. And so here's the mechanism, right? The cardio that you're doing that just gets your heart rate up and has you feeling okay afterwards is zone 3 cardio. And zone 3 cardio is known as the gray zone, right? It's in between zone 2 and it's in between zone 4. And in zone 3, it's a little bit too intense so that it turns on your sympathetic nervous system, which is high cortisol, higher stress, putting pressure on your body. But it's also not intense enough to get all the benefits that you get from zone 4 training, right? So it's kind of in the middle, and it's just the place that you don't want to be, but that many CEOs, executives stay because they think that this is what's going to help them lose the belly fat to get into great shape. And again, so the reason this doesn't work is because it activates your sympathetic nervous system, and that's just adding stress on top of your already stressed nervous system from work, from taking care of the kids, from all of your responsibilities. Again, it's just adding even more stress onto your engine. And so what the right play here is in terms of cardio is, let's say after a long stressful workday, right? You want to get some activity in, you want to burn some calories and work out a little bit. You want to do some cardio. Don't do something that just feels hard enough, right? Gets your heart rate up again. Stay in a zone 2. If you stay in a zone 2 for 30 to 60 minutes, this is perfect. It's going to cause fat oxidation, help you burn fat. It's going to help you burn calories, make your calorie deficit for the day a little bit larger. But most importantly, it's going to help you get activity without turning on your sympathetic nervous system like I've been mentioning. And you don't want to turn that on, again, because you don't want to add more stress. Staying in a zone 2 actually helps you de-stress a little bit, right? It helps you lower your cortisol levels after that long workday, again, while still getting in some good exercise. And so again, that is the right play right there. Make sure that you stay in that zone 2. That's pretty much just a conversational pace. If you don't have a fitness tracker to help you stay within the zone 2, it's about 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate, right? But also, again, it's about a conversational pace. If you can breathe through your nose, if you can have a comfortable conversation doing any sort of cardio activity, that's that perfect zone. And so that is the first habit that all of my clients have implemented, right? Proper cardio structure, something that doesn't add even more stress onto their system, but something that helps them get the activity that they want, that they're looking for, helps them lower their cortisol levels, and helps them get the results that they want to see and feel with their health. Habit number 2 is definitely obviously a very crucial one, right? So for your business, for example, you're looking at your P&L statements, you're looking at your quarterly reviews, you have dashboards for revenue and churn rates, right? My point is you're tracking all of these things for your business, but then when it comes to your body and your health, you're kind of running the system on just how everything feels. Like if I feel good today, then yeah, sure, I'll go to the gym, right? Or I'll do my cardio. And it's not very structured. You're running it more on vibes rather than systems. And so every high performer that I coach right now tracks 4 specific numbers and metrics, right? The first one is your HRV, which is basically your body's readiness score in terms of how much stress it can handle for the day. The next one is resting heart rate, which tells a lot about your cardiovascular efficiency baseline. The next one is deep sleep, so focusing not just on quantity of sleep, but more so quality of sleep. And this is the stage where testosterone and growth hormone gets released. And then the fourth one is the North Star of them all, which is overall metabolic age, how efficient your internal bodily systems are functioning at your chronological age. If you're 50 years old chronologically, we want to get your metabolic age at least to 40 years old, because that means that your health is running efficiently and optimally. And so why all of this matters and why it's important to track specific metrics is because you can't manage what you can't measure. If you're not keeping up with your metrics, if you're not keeping up with what's going on in your body, you don't really know what the next move is. Again, you're basically just running off of vibes, how you feel, rather than following a system for your health and saying, okay, this is what my numbers look like for this day, for this week, for this month. This is what the next play is in terms of how I can continue progressing in the right direction, right? So poorly systemized discipline, which a lot of people have, especially entrepreneurs, that's the nature of their mindset is discipline. I'm going to outwork everyone else. Poorly systemized discipline says, I'm just going to push through any of this plateau that I feel stuck in, right? But correctly systemized discipline says, let's put this consistency and this great determined mindset towards the best habits possible. Following a correct system tells you, okay, this is exactly what my body can handle today. This is the workout that I'm going to do. This is the cardio that I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to fuel my body properly. And this is, how I'm going to properly wind down tonight to get the proper sleep so that I can perform cognitively and physically correct the next day. Again, you cannot manage what you can't measure. So stop treating your body like it's, an afterthought. Treat your body even higher of a standard than you do your business, tracking everything in there.
All right, so funny story, my camera died, right? So now just a quick change of scenery, but we can finish out the video here with the third and final habit that I implement with all of my clients coming in, again, as executive CEOs and high performers, lives with just incredible, chaotic lifestyles, high stress and high pressure, right? And this third habit, I believe, is the most important one that we've talked about today, and that is protecting your first and your last 30 minutes of every single day. Okay, everyone that I've met, those 30, 40, 50-year-olds with, businesses or just great careers, they love to work, right? So they would work 15-hour workdays, okay? But they have a horrible schedule and structure with before and after work, right? They wake up and they want to go straight to work and they want to work until they have to go to bed the last second, right? So again, they have a great relationship with discipline and hard work, but they have no structure outside of that. And that is what's killing them over time. And so again, let's start with this, protecting your first 30 minutes of every day. Okay, like I said, everyone that I've met, and something that is so common is people wake up, they turn off their alarm and they go straight to looking on their phone. Within the first 60 seconds of waking up, right? They turn off their alarm and they go straight to looking at their phone. The messages, the emails, the Slack messages, everything like that. And they just start work instantly before even getting out of bed. And that is the worst way to start your morning and the rest of your day, right? It's going to ruin the rest of your day. And so again, the first step is protecting the first 30 minutes of your day with a real morning routine. All right. And so how I framework this with all of my clients is right when they wake up, they turn off their alarm, right? And the first thing they do is get out of bed and rehydrate. First thing, before coffee, before food, before anything else, of course, you go to the bathroom first, right? But then after that, you rehydrate, because that was 6 to 8 hours of not consuming anything, let alone any water. So you want to rehydrate your body first thing in the morning, kickstart your energy, boost your metabolism, the perfect way to start your day. After that, you get outside. You get the sunlight in your eyes. Let your brain know that it's daytime. It's time to work. It's time to have energy. And that's going to be a natural kick of energy right there too from the sun. You get outside for a morning walk, get your activity in, get the sunlight, set your circadian rhythm. Perfect morning so far. Rehydrate, morning, sunlight, activity, and then your coffee, and then your breakfast, right? And I know some people like to do that intermittent fasting stuff. I hate that. When you skip breakfast, I cannot do that. For me, I love to be fueled. I love to be fed. And so breakfast, I start my morning with some good fats, with some good protein, a little bit of carbohydrates because you don't want to spike your insulin and spike your glucose levels right in the morning. But again, and that's it. The first 30 minutes, just protect it. 4 to 5 simple non-negotiables that are in a sequence so that you can transition from sleep recovery mode into work mode. So that when you open up the laptop, when you open up the phone, or when you get into the office, you start with your best foot forward. Okay, so that's the morning. Now let's talk about nightly, protecting those last 30 minutes at least. For me, it's my last 60 minutes of my day. Okay, and this is all about transitioning from work mode back into recovery and sleep mode. All right, so for me, again, it's 60 minutes before I plan on getting right into bed. I close my laptop. I have a work cutoff time because otherwise, if you work right up until you get into bed, you're not going to be able to fall asleep. Your mind is filled with thoughts, with worries, with stress, thinking about what you did today and thinking about what you have to do tomorrow, all of the other things. And so you're not going to be able to get the recovery that your mind and your body even needs. And again, this is why people can burn out after too many years of outworking themselves. So these last 30 to 60 minutes of your day, it's all about having that work cutoff time, a transition period into recovery mode. So you turn off the laptop, you go home from the office, you turn your phone on do not disturb, no more work. All right. And you properly wind down. You stop eating at least an hour and a half, 2 hours before bed. All right. You set the tone with good sleep hygiene, turn off the bright lights ahead of you. Obviously, try not to look at your phone or work. Maybe wind down with a TV show. But most importantly, reading, journaling, meditating, breath work. It's proper wind down time. And then for me, I like to stretch right before I slip into bed. I like to do my 3 to 5 minutes of meditation, breath work, and then I fall asleep. So again, it's not extravagant, right? But it's simple non-negotiables before you start work and after you're done with work so that you protect, most importantly, your recovery and your sleep quality, right? So protecting those first and last 30 minutes of your day, that is habit number 3 and by far the most important one. So to wrap up this video, one last thing that I want to say and mention is that your best physical years are not behind you, right? If you're 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years old, please, please, please never think that age is a factor when it comes to your health declining, because that is not a factor at all, right? As we age, the only reason we see these common downtrends with health, with testosterone, with energy levels, with belly fat gain, right? The only reason this is so common as people age, especially in men, is because simply our bodies just take a little bit more time to recover later on in life than we do when we're in our 20s or our teenage years, right? In those years, you can throw anything at your body, right? You can outwork for 12, 15 hours of the day, all right? And you're able to recover just because of your youth. And so it's not like your body can't handle that stimulus, that work anymore physically and mentally as you age. It just takes a little bit longer of time to recover. And so nobody actually prioritizes their recovery enough. That is why we see all these declining testosterone and again, overall health levels. So please never think and never use that age is an excuse for your declining health, because that is false. You just have to make a more of an emphasis and prioritization on your recovery systems. But overall, there you have it, right? The 3 main and most important habits that I implement in all of my clients' programs and structured systems, right? Nothing I said today is about breaking through these plateaus that you may be in by working harder. By any means did I never say that. It's not about working harder. It's most definitely about working smarter. Keep up the high intensity, keep pushing yourself as much as you can, but match that with recovery. So adopt those 3 habits that we talked about today and watch your metabolic age, your VO2 max, HRV, resting heart rate, deep sleep, all of these important performance metrics improve. And in return from focusing on these performance metrics improving, the body, the great physique that you want, that's always going to come along for the ride. That's inevitable. I promise you that. Shift your focus from just the physique, getting in shape when you're 40 years old, to I want to perform at my best at 40 years old. And again, in return, you get the physique as well. two birds with one stone, just changing your focus and approach. And also, if you're interested in implementing this full system, again, that I do with all of my clients in Legacy Fitness Coaching, make sure you head over to my Instagram, drop me a follow, and message me the word longevity. That obviously tells me that you watched this video specifically and you're interested in implementing that full structured systemized framework for your own personal life. So make sure to do that. Drop me a follow. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel here. I'm constantly posting valuable videos just like this. So yeah, subscribe, comment any other ideas that you want me to post about. I'll see you in the next one.